What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got, well, I guess you could call it part 2 of the 3090 Saga series that I got a 3090 for $100. Actually here in this 4080 box, just a box that I shipped it off to get repaired because you guys convinced me in the comments that's exactly what I should do. So today we're going to be taking a look at the repaired $100 3090, and I guess this will be a bit of a secret shopper video for the company that repaired it. Let's go. All right, so let's talk about where we are at with this video and why this is considered part 2 because, well, I got the card repaired, but if you guys aren't aware, I bought a 3090 off a Facebook Marketplace group or a Facebook user group for a guy that was selling it because it blew up on him or was electrically dead, and sold it to me for $100. So I took it upon myself to buy the card and do some basic troubleshooting with the card, made a video on it. It did really well. And then in that video, in the comments, you guys suggested that I was crazy to basically not just fix it and just keep it as it was, or some of you even offered to fix it, or on many levels offered places where I should send it to get it fixed. So seeing that it's a $100 card investment so far, and if I could potentially get it fixed, could end up being a pretty good pickup or possible flip if I go that route. So I decided to go with that, and now we've got the card back in our hands after the repair. So first things first, though, I want to call out that through that video, my buddy Clint from TheGameBench, which, by the way, make sure you go check out his channel, he offered to take a look at the card and see if he could even potentially fix it, because at the time of the video that I published, I thought, well, maybe it's just a dead fuse, but it turns out it was quite a bit more. So I'm going to read off what he found, and because I actually sent it to him first. So I got up here on the screen the email back from Clint, and basically said, man, I've got some bad news. I didn't replace the fuse and been having trouble tracking down the right one. So I decided to poke around and see if I could find anything else before I look further for the schematic of the right one. And it seems there are a lot of components on the 12-volt plane that are shorted to ground, which means something's dead. Most likely a MOSFET or multiple MOSFETs failed. It's not too difficult to fix if you have the right tools to figure it out and replace it. And unfortunately, I do not. I bet that if you send this to Northwest Repair on YouTube, he could do it for a reasonable price and still come out on top. He even said it's possible that the core itself could be dead. So, well, although my findings were at least probably one piece of what I found, because I'm not, an electrical engineer and I don't really know how to test these types of things, and it's not really been my forte, Clint basically confirmed that we got a little bit more dead on the card than the original fuse, at least that I thought. Now, he did offer up Northwest Repair. I wasn't actually familiar with Northwest Repair. I may have seen some videos before, but I'm definitely very familiar with NorthRidgeFix, which I had so many comments on the video that were saying, send it off to Rich with NorthRidgeFix, he'll fix you up, blah, blah, blah. I also am aware of him through, I think Jay's 2 Cents. Actually had done some videos with him or done some collaborations. So I figured I'm going to just go with my gut. I'm familiar, at least online, with NorthRidgeFix, and I know that Clint suggested Northwest Repair, but I'm just not familiar, and no knock against that. I'm sure the guy does awesome work. It was more of just a random idea on my part, and I decided I'd just go with NorthRidgeFix. So that's where the secret shopper component of this video comes into play. So we're going to get the card out of this box. Again, as I mentioned, this is a 4080 box that I just happened to have on hand when I did a build for a buddy, and I had to ship it off in something. So generally pretty good to ship graphics cards in the boxes that they come from. So save your boxes, because they can definitely keep them very well protected in case you need to ship off your graphics card for repair. So while we're getting the graphics card out of the box here, and basically all I've done so far is just take it out of the original shipping box. It was a box in a box, so that's good. And I don't think it was the original shipping box that I sent it in, which is not a problem, but I'm glad to see that NorthRidgeFix actually did take care to do that, and they just didn't ship it back in this box. And then, but anyway, I just want to kind of talk about the process, because I was pretty well impressed with the process of NorthRidgeFix and like what he's got going on as far as an operation. All right, so we've got the card out of the original box that I shipped it in, and everything basically looks as it should. We've got the intake label here on the back of the cardboard. NorthRidgeFix actually, took it into their system. So let's quickly talk about so far my experience with NorthRidgeFix. Other than, I guess the ultimate experience if the card works, which I do heavily trust. At least I hope so, based on what I paid. Basically, I just did the online submission where I had to fill out basic generic information about myself and the card. They basically did a fantastic job with the intake process. I can't say that there was really anything difficult about that. I boxed up my graphics card after I got the information of where to ship it and shipped it off. Now, that was a cost to me to cover the shipping. So at that point, it took about standard shipping to get to California, which I live in Texas, so a few days. And then the intake process, and then I got an email notification of basically every step along the way where they've received my request, my ticket number, and then they've received the card. When they received it, as I mentioned, we have like the intake label and the ticket number associated with that, and then they began to go to work. Now, if you are looking to do a NorthRidgeFix repair, they do state that there's not a guarantee that they can fix the card, and there's not a guarantee of what it will cost to fix the card. And I was willing to, take that hit just to know that, heck, if I can even get it repaired, at the high level and then get it back, it's still possibly, worth some money, and potentially, I could still come out on top. So it was only a couple days later, and I've got the communications right here in front of me. So they intook the graphics card on October the 7th, and then literally 2 days later in the afternoon, so basically a 48-hour return as far as receiving it, they had a fix, and I'll read it off here and put it on screen. Hello, great news, your device is fixed and ready to ship. The problem was a short circuit on the main 12-volt rail caused 2 dead driver MOSFETs, cracked capacitor, and blown fuse. So, at least in the original video where I tested for a blown fuse, I was correct, but as Clint alluded to, there was so much more wrong with the card. Mail a check payable to NorthRidgeFix for $368.24. So yeah, I definitely ate it a little bit on the high end there. So basically the fix was a $349 fix fee, plus now I have to pay for shipping, obviously, to ship it back. Here's one thing that I'd say is hopefully my only critique. We don't know yet if the graphics card works, which will be in this video and we'll test here in just a moment. But that was a fair bit of money, and they also, I could have mailed a check. I don't feel all that great about mailing checks, especially, maybe somewhere across the country, but also I don't even really have a checkbook anymore. Most people, I think, don't. Everybody uses digital means of transacting most of the times, and so I haven't written a check in a long, long time, and I haven't had a need for a checkbook. So he does accept wire transfers, which, okay, again, something I've never done before, and that's where it kind of stinks. So in order to wire transfer, I had an additional $25 charge. So yeah, I'm looking at $359 plus basically another $50 to basically pay him in full through the wire transfer and the shipping costs. I'm basically now in at $400 just for the full fix. Now, that's not necessarily a knock on his business model, and if that's how he wants to operate, that's how he wants to operate. I guess the only thing would be nice is if I could have basically swiped a credit card on his website or had some means of paying digitally over the internet, that would have at least saved me $25 in a wire transfer. Now, it could be way more too, depending on, I guess, how much I'm sending and from where I'm sending it from. So that's the only thing that I kind of feel like if I were to say if, NorthRidgeFix could do something differently or possibly better, I guess that term's relative if you think it's better or not, maybe better ways to handle payment. All in all, if we total everything up, what I've spent on this card so far, so we're calling the fix plus wire transfer and shipping $400 from NorthRidgeFix. I originally paid $100 for the graphics card, so we're up to $500. And I also paid another $25. I'm going to guesstimate. I think that's about what it was to ship it to Clint originally. Luckily, he was gracious enough to ship it back to me without charging me, which I did offer to pay for, but he's such a nice guy, and he allowed for me to, I guess, avoid that cost. So now we're looking at about $525 in total for an RTX 3090 that we don't even know works. I want to test it first just as it is, straight out of the box, even though I've had it for a little bit of time. It's taken me a while to record this video to see if it works properly and just fine. And if it does, maybe put it through a stress test, put it through some high GPU load scenarios, make sure nothing explodes on me, I guess. And then ultimately, if all that looks good, I might tear it back down just to see if I can really see any signs of his work. Maybe I really don't know what I'm looking for with that, so that's kind of what I'm curious about. So let's jump into that. Let's get a test system up here on the table and see if this 3090 is breathing life once again. Alrighty, so like within typical fashion, if you guys are familiar with my live streams, we do post tests after builds. This one is a post test live for you, at least live with this video as you're seeing it. I do have a drive here, an SSD that's got Windows 11 on it. If we do get that far, we'll get some verification here on my test monitor, but everything else is basically buttoned back up as it was when we did the original video of testing this graphics card. So without further ado, let's hit some power on the back on my power supply, and let's see if this will work. 3, 2, 1. Main indicator that I was really looking for there, as you guys can probably see, some spinning fans, which we did not get before. Don't hear anything too crazy out of the ordinary. I am looking for any debug lights that I originally had. Don't have any currently. Wait, oh, one just popped up. It says VGA. Oh no, it's just cycling through. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I couldn't really see what that was. It was just part of the post screen, and we've got Windows. Scared me there for a second. I thought I saw it get hung up on VGA, but we have no error codes on the motherboard, which you guys can't see from your perspective. But main thing here is operational graphics card, fan spinning, loading into Windows. NorthRidgeFix did me good. We are on track and doing really, really well. I do have Windows fully booted up. It took a second from the previous cut just because this system basically had to boot up like new. I do have some error messages on my Windows screen just because I don't have internet currently. I got to run a cable and all that stuff. So next thing I'm gonna do here is we'll cut to that, so that way it saves you guys your viewing time. I'm going to get, I think I might have some, yeah, I got TheGameBench Mark. I'll probably run that, maybe a couple other 3D Mark, Time Spy. I just want to basically hit the graphics card as hard as I can and be able to make sure that it's going to run stable and also at advertised, you know, frequencies and all that stuff. So even though it's given us a display image, does that mean it's 100%? We don't know just yet. I'm willing to wager that we are just fine, but obviously this is probably what you would want to do if you just had a graphics card recently repaired. Alrighty, we are up close and personal. Just want to get a good shot of the monitor I'm testing on, as well as the fan spinning on the graphics card, so that way we can see that it truly is operating as it should. Right now, fan's not spinning because it's acting pretty chill, but we've got HWInfo64 up on the left side of the screen. So this is a fantastic program if you guys are looking to do system testing or overall just want to glean some information about your system. We've got the GPU section open here. Main thing here that I want to be keeping an eye on is the temperature, which right now we're chilling at about a chill 43 degrees, which is why fans are not spinning, as well as I want to be looking at the clock speeds, making sure that it's hitting the advertised clock speed. So right now it's actually reading, it must have just jumped for a second because in our current column it hit 1755. So that is the mark that we want to make sure that we're hitting. That is the advertised boost clock speed for this type of graphics card, because it does clock a little bit higher than a normal baseline 3090, but with Hardware Info 64 we can keep an eye on the currents, the minimums, the maximums, and the averages, and that should give us a good amount of information to know that we're not running into any anomalies. Secondly, I've got Heaven Benchmark. It's just a generic benchmark that I've had for a long time, and I'm sure if you are not new to this, then you might even use it or be aware of it, but basically it's just to make sure that we hit the GPU at max load. I'm going to hit all the settings at maximum just so that way I can give it the most load possible. But basically I just want to get the card up to operating temperature as well as frequencies and ensure that, you know, the fix is indeed a fix and we don't have anything going on that's weird. So with that said, we're going to start it up here, starting up Heaven Benchmark right now. And I also do have an MSI overlay that we can see here real quickly and easily with some of the information that it will be displaying to us while the test is running. All right, so Heaven Benchmark is kicking off, and I'm running window mode, which is nice, that way I can actually just drag the window over here while it's running and have both on the small monitor, both my information from HWInfo64 running as well as what's going on in Heaven Benchmark. And I'm gonna let this go for 30 minutes. Nothing explodes, then we're doing good. Alrighty, so we are coming up on right at 30 minutes according to Hardware Info 64. It's been running pretty chill, I'd have to say, and I think for one particular reason is my test system doesn't have a very powerful CPU in it. Actually, a very weak one, a Ryzen 3 1300. It's just something I've had mainly for just testing functionality. So the GPU definitely has its ability to spread its wings a little bit. As you can see, sometimes it's only at like 30 to 40%. So I think if it had a higher core count, faster CPU, it would definitely stretch its wings and fly. But the main thing here that we're looking for is functionality. This can be a bit of an abrasive test as it changes scenes, so that puts the GPU through a relatively, pretty thorough test. I might look at real quick one more test, see if I can find something maybe within 3D Mark that actually does exclusive GPU testing and really kind of hits it and hammers it better. But overall, we're looking good and stable, and this has been running for a solid 30 minutes. And the things that we want to look for too is our clock speeds, which I was wanting to make sure of. So it looks like at a maximum, we almost hit actually 2 gigahertz, but our average in and about 1700 megahertz actually just bumped 2. So we're within the operational speeds of the graphics card. It's got all the memory detected. We got 24 gigs here, and the highest temperature we've got at about 68 degrees, 67.9. So looking really good from a stability standpoint. I'm gonna see if I can find one more good test for it, maybe with a 3D Mark, like I mentioned, that really kind of hammers the GPU more intensively than anything else. All right, so what the heck? We'll hit it with Port Royal. This should be a really good test for this graphics card specifically, just because it's an RTX card. It's a 3090. This should really hit it pretty hard, and everything goes well with this. I'd say we can conclude that the graphics card is fully operational into its OEM state. So here we go. Alrighty, so we've got the score here on the monitor. I don't know if that's actually really considerably a good score. Probably not, considering we have a very weak CPU in the system. Again, just there for functionality, but the main thing was we're able to hit pure stability, which I think at this point in time, we've got a good idea of. Everything seems to be working all right. We've hit it with a lot of load, and there's no anomalies detected. So I'd say this card is back to about as good as it was new. So let's conclude what we got here. So I guess that pretty much conclusively states that we've got the GPU operational. I've got Heaven Benchmark up and running again. It's actually been running for quite a while because I had to charge the battery on my camera to finish off the conclusion of this video. So overall thoughts on NorthRidgeFix. Fantastic process, hands down. Like, I don't have any problem with the process. Obviously, the work speaks for itself. We had a electrically dead 3090, and now we've got an alive, breathing, and beautifully performing 3090. Like I said, my only critique is just the checkout process or how to make payment. That, that's his prerogative, and I'll leave him to that. If that's how he wants to do business, that's completely fine. I don't say that's a huge negative. So where do I stand here with this at this point? We've got the card for $100, and we tallied up all the cost, looking in at about total investment of about $500 for an RTX 3090. Now, the main thing is I've got to make back some of my money on this investment, because this was an experiment, and luckily it looks like it's going to pay off, because looking at eBay's lowest listings right now, these cards are still going for $700 before tax and shipping. So I'd say a fair refurbished price is in at about that mark. Or, I might look at possibly selling for, say, like $600 just because it's been refurbished and it's been through some things. But at worst case, I hope to just basically make my money back, and that way I can reinvest it into the channel some way, somehow. At this point, I'm not going to tear down the video card either, even though I did mention that earlier in the video. I think that's just, we've got proof in the pudding that everything's working fine. Anywho, I think that about sums this one up. I'm going to get this card probably out on my local marketplace and see if I can make some cash back in hand and move on to the next video. So thanks for tuning into this one, though. I appreciate your time, and hold on a sec, I totally forgot. Yep, I found another 3090. This time I didn't have to pay anything for it, so I'm already up ahead. This is actually a buddy of mine, and he said he's got a dead 3090 and wants me to take a look at it. So I'll catch you in the next one.